Hey everybody, this is Stu Smith going live. Hope you guys can hear me loud and clear. I am going to be talking a little bit about a term I used the other day with a online client with the PT club, and they're foreign or from Austria, and so they didn't quite understand what I thought was pretty common English. But if you listen to the words, you'll understand why it was a little confusing to a non-native speaker. I use the term "Hey, never give up," and so having to explain never giving up to someone who does not speak English, um, I mean, well, to understand some of the little slang terms that we have, made me think a little bit about this term. And, it's not some new term, by the way. It's not something that you'd find in the Urban Dictionary, for instance, that's a brand new term, in the Webster's Dictionary. It actually has been used for generations, hundreds of years. In fact, in the Navy, if you're familiar with the Oliver Hazard Perry, had a big flag, big battle flag with "Don't give up the ship" written on it. In fact, there's a big picture. In fact, there's the actual flag is at Memorial Hall in at the Naval Academy. So that was back in 1812. So it has been something that is pretty common. So when I use the term "never give up," it basically just means never quit for some of you guys that might not thoroughly understand English. Um, so never quit, never give up, never surrender. Those are some of the terms that come with it. So let's discuss this for a minute. All right. So I'm finding, you know, uh, finding some, I guess, examples of the use of this quote pretty interesting. You know, uh, finding the fuel to keep, going possible, is possible. And you can build this through practice and persistence and a willingness to get comfortable being uncomfortable. So that is what it takes some time to build up this never quit attitude, never quit um, physiology, so to speak. But here's the deal. No matter what your goal is, I mean, there's going to be good days and bad days, right? And you're going to be motivated at first to accomplish this goal, whether, especially right now, a lot of people are big into the New Year's resolution. Hopefully the term resolution on January 10th is still in your vocabulary and you're still moving well with it. But what you may have found by now, 10 days in, is that your motivation may have waned 1 or 2 days throughout this 10-day period, right? So these habits that you are creating by going to the gym or working out or um, stop eating crap food or quit smoking or quit drinking so much, whatever this goal that you have, um, you know going for you, um, is going to have to evolve into discipline. In fact, I wrote an article on military.com. You guys can search it. I think it's called "Motivation Evolves into Discipline." It has to happen, and one of the favorite quotes I like to use is by Rocky, the boxing movie. Every champion was once a contender who never gave up. Um, and that requires your motivation turning into discipline, because there are days that you just don't feel like doing it. And you have to have that disciplined habit to move you toward your goal every day. Right. So how about this? So every goal requires habits. Right. And there's this great quote also, success is usually driven by two habits. One we have to start and one we have to give up. Right. There's that term "give up" again. Not quite sure who said that one. But it means a lot. If you think about what you are having to give up, to create a new habit, right? You are breaking a habit that might be sleeping longer. You got to wake up earlier. The habit of eating crap food, now you're eating better food. The habit of drinking soda, and now you're replacing that habit with water. I'm just kind of focusing on the fitness side of these goals and habits because that's what I do. I'm a fitness writer. But a good article I wrote a while back ago is drinking alcohol and advanced physical training. You may be young, might be a hard charging guy. I was. I remember, I like to party as much as I like to work out hard. But there was a time and place to start getting serious with what you were trying to do. And, it is no myth. There's no rumor to it. You drinking a lot of alcohol, eating crap food and not sleeping well is going to screw up your training cycle that week. You might have had a great Monday through Friday, but let it all go to hell on Saturday and Sunday. Right. And, you should use those days to recover, especially if you're going through a spec ops selection that gives you the weekends off, like Buds, for instance. You're going to bust your butt Monday through Friday, but you got Saturday and Sunday to lick your wounds. The last thing you really need at that point is, going out and getting hammered. So some guys do. Some guys still suck it up. That's the beauty of being 21 years old, right? So anyway, there's another thing about habits. The other one is dreaming, believe in yourself. A great quote by Nelson Mandela was a winner is a dreamer who never gave up, right? Just like the one above that Rocky said, every champion was a contender who ever gave up. Every, champion bodybuilder, champions athlete, spec ops guy, whatever your goal is, they were once wannabes too. They were once just like you, wanting to be something else, right? And the thing is that they just never gave up. So, with dreams and goals, I like to write them down. I don't necessarily like to share them. I mean, nowadays, before I was, doing all, my transition from athlete to special ops guy, there was no special social media. So it was really easy not to, have to share with the world what you want to do. I don't necessarily recommend doing that, but you should definitely write them down. Have something in your room that you look at every day that reminding you to, hey, time to get up out of bed and get to work. That works really well. I actually had this really cool Marine Recon poster back in the 80s and a Navy SEAL poster, and that was it. You didn't have endless cool photos on Instagram and cool videos on YouTube. We didn't have movies, TV shows, books. It was very limited to what you could do. Amount of information that you have is incredible. So take advantage, and you should definitely, if you're considering any of these journeys, you should do your research. The one thing that kind of annoys me the most is, people asking me questions about vision, right? What's the vision do I need to become a Navy SEAL, right? I mean, those things are referenced throughout the internet, and all you really need to do is go to Google. Now, if you're just trying to start a conversation with me, I get it, but that's sometimes it's difficult to start a conversation with an adult, especially if you're a young teenager. But come up with something better, ask something that's not found on the internet. Like, how did you enjoy your time in the military? Was it worth it? Questions like that, I will always answer. Questions that are easily researched, I'm going to say, go to Google, right? So you gotta believe in yourself and make sure that, with all the information you have at your fingertips, you are going to have to prove statistics wrong, because statistically speaking, you have about a 20% chance of getting into these special ops programs and making it successfully. So I think that's a great motivation right there, is proving people wrong, because along your journey, you're probably going to have people that tell you, yeah, you'll never make it. I did. It's part of the system. But you need to find somebody that's like-minded with you, whether you're watching them online or you're actually talking to them or training with them. And don't give up on yourself. That's the big thing. Don't give up on yourself. And then my favorite form of motivation is proving others wrong. That goes a long, long way. So my advice on this one, just avoid negative influences altogether. You got people that are bringing you down, you got to cut bait. Just the way it works. As soon as you can. But there's no guaranteed path to success. There's many ways to reach your goal. I have programs that are a way to get to a certain physical state that will help you with whatever you're selecting, whether that is military, law enforcement, firefighters, special ops, a fitness test, the actual selection training itself. I specialize in creating those kind of programs. However, I don't have the program. I have a program. This Maximum Fitness book is a program. It's a 52-week plan. This Tactical Fitness book is a program. It is, focused. Both of these are focused on periodization and, what I call seasonal periodization, which once again, it's not the periodization for tactical athletes. It is a way to do it. And you cycle through all the elements fitness spread throughout the year, right? And you have to find a path to success somehow. Doesn't have to be mine. You just need to find your path to success, and then have that never quit attitude. Motivation has to turn into discipline, and then you reach whatever that skill set is you're trying to go for. You are there. And then, it comes down to, you're just now more durable. You have some work capacity, and to be able to conquer whatever you are setting out to conquer. One of my favorites quotes by Babe Ruth is, it's hard to beat a person who never gives up. And that is so true, right? And once again, there's that give up term. All right, so I won't beat you up with any more give up quotes. But one thing I want to tell you is that, throughout whatever journey you're taking, you will fail. And never quitting on your dream is filled with obstacles that you have to climb, and decisions that you have to make, forks in the road, and every chapter opens up to a new chapter and a new journey. That's the way this journey works, and you're going to have failures, and you're going to have challenges, and you're going to have to learn from these experiences. Because they're going to make you stronger, and they're make you better. They're going to make you a better doer, a better thinker. When that next obstacle arises, you'll be able to nail it. That's the way it works. You build a more resilient mind and body by going through these journeys of, I am here and I want to be there. And then throughout that journey, you never giving up, you're going to learn so much from. Right. And you'll be able to take that to the bank for the rest of your life. I promise you. And then how about this one? One last time, a quote on failure. Henry Ford: failure is simply an opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. That's a classic. So, all right. I'm Stu Smith. I run a program. You can find it on Stu Smith Fitness, multiple programs, whether it's personalized training or group training or books and ebooks. That's what I do. And the one thing I want you to remember as I sign off here is, throughout this journey, you're going to have successes. You may have already been a success in your athletic history, right? But don't let success go to your head, but also don't ever let failure go to your heart, right? Failing is part of success. And if you can remember that, you will hammer whatever you got going on. All right. So that's my 2 cents on never giving up. And I'm going to take some questions if you guys have some. People saying, what's up? The Army PFT book is awesome. Thanks, Kelvin. By the way, I just updated it. It is new and updated with the OPAT, the Occupational Physical Assessment Test that you will take either at boot camp or basic training or AIT. Consider it the ASVAB for fitness, and it also has the new Army combat fitness test in it, which has a variety of different new tests. Instead of the push-ups, sit-ups, and a 2-mile run, you still have to run 2-mile run, so there's a lot of running in it still. But instead of sit-ups, you do knee-ups, grab onto a pull-up bar like this, and you got to bring your knees to your elbows. Pretty darn tough. Got to practice those to get good at them, I promise you that. And then you have deadlifts using a hex bar, same for the OPAT. Got a shuttle run. You got some sprints carrying dumbbell weights or ammo cans, simulate ammo cans, sprint, shuttle run, got a drag, got some carries, farmer walk stuff. So anyway, it's a great test. I think it's 10 times better than what the one since 1980 has been with the push-up, sit-ups, and a 2-mile run. However, the push-up, sit-ups, and a 2-mile run is easy to complete. It's easy to administer, and you will probably still be seeing it within your journey. So this new Army fitness book that I just updated, it still has the push-up, sit-ups, 2-mile run exercises in it, because you will see it throughout your recruiting phase. You may see it when you don't have all the equipment at your command yet, so you have to do the old one still. I think they will officially implement what's going on with the new PFT this year. So 2019, I think second half of 2019. So thank you for that. I've been keeping up to date with all the new standards that's been going on. There's a lot of changes, within the Army. Air Force has some new changes too with their special ops program. In fact, they no longer call it the Battlefield Airmen, with your PJs, your CCTs, your TACPs, EOD, the Spec Ops Weather Tech guys, and SEER. They are no longer called Battlefield Airmen. They're actually called Air Force Special Warfare. And they will be going to a selection and assessment course right after the prep course. And then they will, depending on their scoring and their abilities there, they will be fitted into one of those jobs that I just mentioned. So they're making it very similar to Army Special Forces, and they're doing a great job with it too. So they're making some great changes with all their special ops programs. So check that out. Yes, the past changes. Changes next month also for February 1st. Yeah, I just saw that. And in fact, this one, and I got one for the Army Special Ops too, but this one is updated with the exact new standards as well. So they've been changing crazy. I mean, it is hard as a writer who writes a lot of articles and new books and updates to books. It's really tough to keep up with, to be honest with you. But I will tell you this: they haven't changed a whole lot with the actual exercises, and the minimums and the maximums may have changed, but there's still an optimal score you need to have on these fitness tests. And I go way past the minimum standards on those. So I would recommend, instead of 50 push-ups, you should be shooting for 100. If there's 50 sit-ups, you should be shooting for 100, right? I mean, you might get 90, and that's still really good, and it's way above the minimum standard. So, instead of 6 pull-ups, you should be shooting for 20, right? That's the way you have to think, in any special ops program, no matter what branch of service. So, you need to stand out with your physicality, and scoring well on those tests will help you even more during the process of going through selection. Let's see. Somebody says they don't do New Year's resolutions. I agree. You shouldn't. My resolution is the same one I've had all year. So yeah, but it's a great place to start. Some people need an excuse to start. And if that's you, I think that's great. Find a new place to start, whether that is January 1st or March 1st or May 1st. I don't care. Start, get going, make today day one, and stop saying one day I'd like to do that. It's a great one. Make today day one, not one day. All right. Okay. Let's see. Here's a good question. I'm 2 months and 2 weeks into training for buds. All right, so you just started. I went from 155 bench to 135 squat, 245 deadlift to 170, 170, and 285. Hey, that's great in 2 months. But are you training for buds or for a powerlifting team? Right? That doesn't look like a buds PST to me. But it's a good weight training cycle. You need to get strong too. You need to have a foundation of strength. So, that's great. And you need that. I was a powerlifting football player long before I was a buds candidate. So those lifts makes a lot of sense to me. But eventually you got to transition out of that and start focusing on getting to buds by acing the PST, and then getting through buds by having a foundation of strength and an even greater endurance level, such as 4 mile timed runs, 2 mile ocean swims, obstacle courses, load bearing. Have boats on your heads and logs on your shoulders. So that's where the strength comes in. So I'm not saying your bench, squats, and deadlifts are useless. Just saying that that's not buds training. That is any old athletic training. You can go right into football season with that if you want. Advice on power training. Power, is strength with speed. So make your lifts a little faster. Make your calisthenics a little faster. What I mean by that is maybe go down slow, explode up. That's going to build power. Okay. That's really what that is for. It's going to introduce speed to your strength training. If you think about at least the actual physics equation of what power is. Okay, how would you recommend treating patellar tendonitis pain with squatting and running? Well, I wouldn't treat patellar tendonitis with squatting and running. You can still do squatting and running with patellar tendonitis, but it's not a treatment for it. I would ice. I would take some anti-inflammatories. I would give it a little bit of rest, maybe not run and squat for a few days and do some non-impact activities. Let's see, I would do, there's a new study, not quite new, but might be new to you, on doing leg extensions super slow, moderately heavy. So you're sitting down, right? Sitting down, and you extend your leg, come down real slow. So like a 5 second up, 5 second down. And that's going to put a lot of load on that patella tendon, which has shown in studies to be able to be very helpful in healing. So that's something to do as well. Doesn't have to be every day you do that. I would also stretch and foam roll the area. If you can't foam roll the area, I would get a tennis ball and massage the area as well. But ice, rest, Motrin, can't go with those. Can't go wrong with those. I mean, if you don't like Motrin, then maybe some other anti-inflammatory medication, or you do fish oil, things like that can, supposedly help with inflammation. Let me see. As I train for buds, I have the feeling that I know I can do it, but at the same time, contradictory thought creeps into my head. And I have this thought that can I really get through it? You know what? That don't feel like that is uncommon, because that is common to everybody. I don't care what anybody tells you. Um, you will do a inordinate amount of preparation to be able to be ready for buds. And eventually you will say, you know what? I'm as ready as my body can handle. Right. And that goes a long way, because if you're really ready physically, you don't have to engage mental toughness until later. Right. If you can handle hours worth of workouts, you don't have to engage the mental toughness 30 minutes into that and be sucking it up the whole time. You can save your mental toughness cycle for Hell Week, right? And because that's all mental toughness. I mean, there's no preparing for Hell Week. I mean, you are going to do your absolute best to be strong, be fast, have endurance, have some durability, be able to handle yourself under the logs and the boats, have some work capacity, be able to work hard, be motivated, be disciplined with it. But in the end, it's going to come down to your motivation um, getting through Hell Week. In fact, they've also nicknamed Hell Week Motivation Week, because it really is. It comes down to your motivation. How bad do you want this? And you will be tested. Just know that. But yeah, it's not uncommon to have doubts. When you have doubts, I think your brain works normally. But when you get there, you have to be in compete mode, because I will tell you this, that you will never think about quitting if you think about winning, right? 100%, right? Go and try to win something. If you can't be first, be in the top 10%. If you can't be in the top 10%, be in the top 50%, right? If you can barely do that, just don't get gooned. Have some kind of goal where every event that you go into, you are going to kick butt, right? You are going to put out and do something. Striving for the barely passing minimum standards every single event is exhausting and will tax anybody's mental toughness. Right. So if you can go in there in a above average level of shape, you can kick some butt throughout this course. Right. They say, like in the first few phases, you got to run a 4-mile timed run in 31 minutes. But if you can hit it in 27, guess what? That's an easy day for you. Right. You hit 27, even one day when you're having a bad day and you hit a 28, you're still passing. Right. And 27-minute 4-mile is not blistering speed. Right? It's fast in boots and on sand, but it's hard packed sand, so it's not soft sand. It's going to slow you down that much. I've seen guys do it below 24. And they're just super fast. 4-mile timed runs, easy day for them. For me, it was a weekly gut check. It was just one of those things. If I wanted to score 27, 28, I had to put out. Right? There are going to be events that you have to put out for. Just know that. Right. And what your job is now is to take any weakness you have and be honest with yourself and figure that out. Figure out your weaknesses now, work on them so they're not so much a weakness. Right. Maybe even they're almost a strength, as good as your strength. Right. That works really well. Okay. Good job. Good question. Advice on how often to train to failure. That's a good question, because I think a lot of people will try to train to failure every set. I don't necessarily recommend doing that. I like to fail. I like to, whether that's if I'm doing, a workout that has 100 pull-ups in it, maybe I'm doing a pyramid set or something like that, and there may be a higher set that I can only get 10 where I'm supposed to get 11 or whatever. And I fail at that 11th one, that would be considered a failure, even though it's just once, in a big volume of pull-ups. You can also do it every single set, maybe once a week. I do this one workout where I call it max rep sets, where after 2 days of rest, I'll do 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 sit-ups. Why that? It's the 3 exercises of the PT test. You could use other exercises like the Murph uses 300 squats instead, but try to get those in as few sets as possible and limit your time for 2 minutes. So now you have, max rep pull-ups, go until you can't do them. Then you got 2 minutes of push-ups, 2 minutes of sit-ups. Go for a little jog, come back again. Max pull-ups, max sit-ups, max push-ups. Do it again until you get 100, 200, 300. If you can get it in 4 or 5 sets, you're solid, right? If it takes you 10 or more, you need to work on that one a little more. But yeah, I mean, I would say failure like that in calisthenics works pretty well. I remember when I was a power lifter, I would maybe fail once or twice in a workout on a particular lift, especially like bench press. I would do like a drop set, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and keep doing ones until I failed, right? And then maybe that next one, I'd do that same weight again, but maybe as a negative. So I'd just take that same weight just so my body gets used to that weight. So that's the strength side in me. So you could do it with both strength training. You can do it with both calisthenics. But yeah, I don't think you need to fail every day. I don't think you need to fail every set. But there are some days that you can and you should, especially if you're trying to push, 100 reps in 2 minutes on a push-up test. You're not going to do it by doing a whole bunch of sets of 20, right? I mean, that's going to be fine if you can do 10 sets of 20, but it's a good workout. But sometimes it doesn't get you over that hump of 75 or 80 without pushing 75 to 80 in some sets. Like I said, that's just an opinion of mine. There's some overload principle behind it as well. So if you want to wonder about how you should fail, do a Google search on overload principle and learn a little bit about all the methods that you can apply overload principle to your training. Let's see. It's a couple more. Let's do a couple more. I've been in here over 32 minutes, so I don't want to take too much of your time. Let's see. All right, so here we go. Since this one, we kind of talked a little bit about mental, let's end it with a mental. I train mentally as well. There's a hill that I hate on my runs, and every time I think about turning around, I tell my brain, screw you. Hit that hill as hard as possible, hoping it won't follow me. Yes, hey, you know what? You got to do it. You got to do things you don't like doing, because typically the things you don't like doing are your weaknesses. Plain and simple. We, as athletes, as candidates for military special ops programs, we tend to do the things we like to do, right? If you're a crappy swimmer, you're probably going to be putting off swimming to the very last thing. You're right. I would recommend doing it first, getting your swimming immediately. If you're a crappy runner, run, right? If you're not very strong, lift, right? If you still need to work on your calisthenics, work on your calisthenics. So anyway, this has been a live video from me, Stu Smith. Like I said, I run a program called Stu Smith Fitness. StuSmithFitness.com. Check it out. I have a membership program there as well, where you get weekly workouts. You get access to archives of over a year's worth of workouts. And let me see. I don't have the new shirts, but I'm giving new shirts out if you sign up during January. They're my Heroes of Tomorrow shirts with "Never Quit" written on the back. So that's pretty cool. So let's see what's going on. I am taking off. I will read some of these comments a little bit later. And if there are any good ones, I'll maybe come back and answer them on the next live. I try to go live on YouTube now once a week. Just started it. I guess you could say that's my New Year's resolution, to go live once a week with you guys. Jeff Nichols and I are still doing tactical fitness reports. In fact, we're going to do one today, and it'll be posted up later. So look for that. Don't think we're not. He's just been busy traveling, and the holidays just slowed us down a lot. So anyway, that is it. This is Stu Smith. Thanks for joining in on this 35-minute video. Like I said, email me. I'll put some contact information below in the description if you want to contact me, if you got more questions about what we do and how we do it. So I will see you later. Have a good day.